Good morning, children. Let us begin with Standard 5 EVS, Unit 10, Walls Tell Stories, Part 1. Walls tell stories means that from the olden time buildings and monuments, we come to know the history of our country. So, this is what we are going to learn in this lesson. So, let us start reading. Reached Golconda. Now, Golconda is a fort. This fort is located in Hyderabad, and it was a fort built during the in the past, and the Sultan dynasty used to rule over it. So now let us read. At last we reached Golconda. We were glad that Didi was with us. Didi studies history and we enjoy visiting different places with her. So here certain children, they have gone to visit this fort and they reached Golconda, and they were very happy to see this fort, and they were along with their elder sister whom they called Didi, and she was studying history, so she knew some facts about the fort, and so the children enjoyed visiting with her so that they could learn something from her. Shailja, my goodness, this fort is so huge. Sridhar, and see at what a height it is built. So when they reached there, the children were very excited and they saw that the fort was very big and huge, and it was built at a certain height. As we can see in the picture, it is at a certain height. Liani, just look. Have you ever seen such a huge gate? Shailja, it must be very heavy. I wonder how many people would be needed to open and close this gate. So, as soon as they entered into the fort, they saw that the gate was very huge. In the olden days, the entrances were very huge. The gates, the doors were very huge, and if they were so huge, they would have been also very heavy. So Sahil just said that it is so heavy, then how was it possible for the people to open and close such gates? Many people must be needed to open this gate because it was very huge. We can see a part of that gate, solid wood, very heavy wood, these doors were made of. So the children were excited to see the huge doors. Kalyani, look at these sharp iron spokes. I wonder why they are made. Shailja, look at these thick walls too. Sridhar, I have never seen such thick walls. Kalyani, at some places, a part of the wall comes out in a round shape. I wonder why. Didi, these are called bastions. See, these are even higher than the wall. So now they have come to visit the fort and they are seeing each and every part of the fort and wondering that why it was constructed in such a way. Now on the entrance of the door there were certain sharp iron spokes. So they were wondering why was it like that. So we can see here at the side of the gate there are some certain pokey spokes. So they were wondering why it was like that. And then Shailja noticed that the walls were also very thick. Nowadays when houses are made, we don't construct such thick walls, but in the olden days the walls were very thick, and at certain places Kalyani noticed that the walls were little in a round shape. Our normal houses have straight walls, but here the outer sides of the walls were little in round shape. So Didi said that these were called bastions, which are in Hindi we say burj, and they were little higher than the uh, wall of the fort. So here you can see that beautiful Golconda fort constructed. It is at such a height, almost we can say around 2 to 3 floors. There's a beautiful garden and there are stairs and everywhere, and it is very beautiful, and it is now a tourist place. The outer wall of this fort has 87 bastions, thick walls, a huge gate, and so many bastions. So many ways to ensure security. So Didi also said that this fort has almost 87 bastions, means the outer walls are little round in shape, and in the whole fort almost 87 of such walls are made. All the walls are very thick and there are huge gates and so many of the bastions. Why were they all done? So that they could remain secure in the inner part of the fort. This was done only for security. So children, can you see in this picture the outer sides of the walls are little round in shape, which is known as bastions or burj. And on that wall there are certain holes where the soldiers could stand and see and protect the fort. They could see who is approaching towards the fort. What did we find inside the fort? Shailja, I wonder how old this fort would be. Do you think the king built the fort so that he would live here? Kalyani, it was written outside that Qutub Shahi sultans ruled here one after another from 1518 to 1687. Didi, much before that, in 1200, this fort was made of mud and different rulers ruled here and lived here. Shailja, oh, look, this board has a map of the fort. Sridhar, this map shows so many gardens, fields, and factories. See, there are many palaces also inside the fort. So, as they were roaming and watching each part of the fort, they started thinking that what they will see more in the fort. So then Sailja started wondering why such a huge fort was built. Were the kings living in this fort? So Kalyani said that as she was entering, she had noticed a board, and it was written there that the Qutub Shahi sultans ruled over this fort from the years of 1518 to 1687. But Didi, as she was studying history and she knew more about history, she said that during the 1200s this fort was made, and it was made of mud, not even bricks and cement and concrete, but it was made of mud, and many kings have ruled over this fort. So Sahil just said that as they walked, they saw a huge board, and on that board there was the map of the fort. Map means which shows all the directions and whatever is situated in that fort. So they saw that there were many gardens and fields and factories also in this fort, and there were also many palaces inside this fort where the kings could live. Shailja, that means that not only the Sultan but many other people like farmers and workers must also have been living here. Kalyani, it must have been a complete town. So when they saw on the map that there are many gardens and fields and factories, so they presumed that not only the king who ruled over this fort lived in this fort, but many other workers and peoples like farmers, and they also must be living here in this fort. So they presume that this must be a complete town. The huge fort was just a town when you enter in. So now let's continue. The Sultan's palace, Sridhar. These steps seem to go on and on. Now they had entered into the one of the palaces in that fort, and they found that the steps were too long, and they just needed to climb on and on and on. Shailja, even in those days they used to have buildings with two floors. Kalyani, now the buildings is in ruins, but one can imagine that earlier there were many big halls and rooms here. Sridhar, look at this beautiful carving on the walls. It's so fine. Kalyani, we also saw something like a fountain on one of the roofs. Didi, yes, there are many big tanks and fountains here. So as they went on climbing and climbing the staircase, they found that in those days also the forts were made for around 2 floors high. You can see the height of that floor of the fort, and they were made around 2 floors high. But now it is not in that good condition as it was in the past. And there were many big rooms and halls in that palace. When they entered, they saw that their walls had beautiful carvings, and they were really very fine carvings were made on the walls. And Kalyani also saw, when they went on one of the terraces of the palace, she found that something was like a fountain on that roof. So Didi said that earlier there were many huge water tanks and fountains on in this palace, and those water tanks and fountains, they were always full of water. Now let's see what information is given over here. You can see the picture of the fountain at the side towards the left. So now think, even today when engineers design homes, sometimes there is dampness in the walls. And here, so long ago, there were fountains on the terraces. The building must have been made with such good understanding. If we think how the people lived 500 years ago, so many questions come to our mind. For example, how was water lifted to such heights? Can you guess how? So now here it is talking about the construction of that of the fort, that how the fort was constructed in those days. Having a fountain on the terrace means that if nowadays if we make a fountain on the terrace, we have a fear of a leakage on the other in the other rooms. But in those days, at such a height, the forts were constructed, and at such a height there were fountains made, and still there was no problem in the fort of any leakage. This dampness is any leakage. There were no leakage on any of the walls. And it once if we think of a fountain, then we also it gives a question in our mind that how the water reached at such a height. How did they reach the water at such a height in those days? There were no motors, there were no machines. Then how did they reach water at such a height? This is the map that Sridhar had seen, and everything is mentioned in this map. Where is the fort? Where is the palace? Where are the factories? Where are the fields? And there was a small key made towards the left hand side that we can see, which everything is mentioned with the pictures, that we know that this is the garden, this is the field, this is the factory, and you can follow this map and move about in this fort. Why these attacks? While we were all talking, Sridhar called us to see a big gun. We ran up the steps. Sailja, this must have been the Sultan's big gun. Didi, this was used by Aurangzeb. His full army came with their guns and cannons to attack, but they could not even enter the fort. For 8 months they camped outside the fort. Now, they were all thinking that why were attacks being made at those times. So as they were moving about, Sridhar saw a cannon that you can see towards the left, which was used during the wars. So all the children ran up the steps to see, and when Sailja saw, she just passed a comment that this must be the Sultan's big gun. It was like a gun. A cannon is that gun was like a cannon. So Didi said that this was used by Aurangzeb. He had come with his huge army to conquer over this fort, to have a war with the king who was ruling that time. He wanted this fort, so he had come with his army. But he camped outside the fort for around 8 months, and he tried hard, but it was very difficult, and he could not enter also in this fort. Shailja, why would the army come here all the way from Delhi? Didi, In those days, emperors and kings played such tricks. They tried to make smaller kingdoms a part of their own kingdom. This was done sometimes by friendship, sometimes by flattery, or even by marriage between families. And when nothing else worked, they also attacked them. Kalyani. Why is it that Aurangzeb's army could not get into the fort? He had so many soldiers and big guns. So now they were discussing that Aurangzeb had come to conquer over this fort. So Sailja had a question that Aurangzeb was in Delhi. So why did he come here to Hyderabad to conquer this Golconda fort? So Didi said that in the earlier days, all these kings they had that they could do a war and they could conquer over the other small kingdoms and they could rule over that kingdom too. So this was a way of conquering the court by attacking the other king by a war. Sometimes certain kings they used to have a friendly agreement among them and they used to merge their kingdoms. Sometimes they used to use certain tricks to conquer over the other kingdom, or sometimes they a marriage used to take place among both the kingdoms and they used to merge both the kingdoms, and sometimes they used to have certain wars like this, how Aurangzeb came to attack the fort. So these were the different ways that how they used to conquer over the forts. Then Kalyani had a question that if Aurangzeb was so strong and why was he not able to enter the fort? He had come with so many soldiers and so many guns and so many cannons. And why was he not able to enter this fort? He stayed there for around 8 months and he was not successful. Shailja, didn't you see these strong, thick walls? In the map, there is a long, deep ditch along the wall. How could the army enter? Sridhar, if the army tried to come from a different side, then the soldiers in the bastions would have seen it from a distance. No wonder it was difficult to attack the fort. Kalyani, imagine the army is coming on horses and elephants with all their guns. Here the Sultan's army stands fully prepared. Shailja, oh no, how many people and soldiers on both the sides must have been killed in all this fighting? Why do people attack and have wars? So when Kalyani had that question that why was Aurangzeb not able to enter the wall, Shailja said that we have seen that the fort had very thick walls, and in the map they had seen that there was a long, deep ditch, a pit dug outside the fort. It was very huge and deep. People were Why was it made? So that people cannot cross and enter or try to climb the walls of the fort. That is why this pit was made outside the fort. Then Sridhar also said that we have seen that there were bastions made around the walls of the fort where the soldiers used to stand, and there were holes along that bastions where the soldiers used to stand and watch that who is approaching towards the fort. Even if the army came on horses and elephants, they could see and protect their fort and inform the king that who is approaching towards the fort. And then they started thinking, Sailja started thinking that in those days when they used to have war, there many people must be dying in both the armies, many people, many soldiers. And she had a question that why people used to have wars in those days. Sridhar, guns and cannons are things of the past now. These days, many countries have nuclear bombs. A single bomb can cause so much destruction. So earlier, they used to use these cannons and guns and swords and spears for war. But nowadays, Sridhar said, nowadays, the armies have nuclear bombs. When they blast one bomb, a single portion, many people, in thousands and thousands of people die together, and there is so much of destruction when these certain nuclear bombs are blasted. When there was no telephone, Didi asked us to wait at the king's palace. She herself went to Fateh Darwaza. A while later, we heard Didi's voice. Alert! I am Sultan Abdul Hassan. I am very fond of music and Kuchipudi dance. We all laughed. We were surprised how Didi's voice could be heard from so far. She later told us that if you stand at Fateh Darwaza, whatever you speak can be heard at the king's palace. So, in the olden days, there were no telephones and no other means of communication. But these forts were constructed in such a way that if you stand at that Buland Darwaza, Fateh Darwaza, and if you say and you speak something, your voice was carried and it could be heard to the king in his palace. So, such arrangements were made in the fort during the construction. So, when the children heard such a in the construction of those days, they were really very surprised that how they could hear the voice of their Didi from so far. Arrangements for water. This picture shown here is made after seeing a very old painting of those times. Can you think why bullocks have been used here? Use your hand movement to show in which direction the drum attached to the rod moves when the bullocks move. In which direction would the toothed wheel move? Look, this pole shown under the ground joins with another wheel which has a number of pots on it. So, seeing for the arrangement of the water, how was the water supplied into the fort? You can see in this picture that there is a huge drum, and that drum is attached with a pole and attached to the bullocks there. You can see that a man is using those bullocks to move that pole round and round, and that drum is attached with another wheel uh, which has a toothed wheel called a toothed wheel. You can see that they get fixed into that drum, and that wheel is again attached to a pole, to a very huge wheel which are attached with pots. Can you see it? It is very clear. And the water, the underground water, that wheel moves in that underground water, and all the pots are filled, and they keep on moving round and round, and they empty. Those pots automatically get emptied on a plank, and from that plank the water was supplied into the fort. So what a beautiful thinking and arrangement of water to be supplied into the fort very clearly. Nowadays we use electric motors and machines to draw water from the wells, but in those days this was done by manual labor. The whole day the bullock used to keep moving round and round, and the water would be drawn from the underground wells and supplied into the fort. What a sad sight! Talking, whistling, and listening to our own echo, we were walking through this mehrab. Now, the children were walking to a tunnel called a mehrab, which is in an arc shape. We can see very clearly in this picture that arc shape, that round shape is called the mehrab. They were talking and they were whistling and they were listening to their own echoes because it was a closed tunnel type where they were walking. Sridhar, oh, the breeze feels so cool in this tunnel. Shailja, it was written that soldiers stayed here. So when they were passing through that tunnel, they found that it was very cool inside that tunnel. Cold, cool breeze was blowing in that tunnel. So Shailja said that it was written somewhere on those. There was a board where she read that the soldiers used to stay here. In the olden days, there were no fans, so the soldiers used to stay here, and naturally they used to get the breeze. Sridhar, see this board, but look what the wall is like. Shailja, oh, think how this wall has seen thousands of years go by. It has seen kings and queens, horses and elephants, war and peace. But we have spoiled it in just a few years. Kalyani, I don't understand. What kind of fun do people get in writing their names all over the place like this? So, as they were walking through that tunnel, they also saw one board which we can see in the picture. Writing on the wall is prohibited. So why was that information given? Because certain people, only for fun, they write their names and scribble on these walls. All these forts are our natural heritage. We need to preserve them. Why do we need to preserve them? So that we also in future, whoever visits these forts, even they know what was the history of our country years and years ago. These walls, which were very beautiful in the past, because of our mischief, we spoil such walls and we make it dirty and we spoil our heritage. But it is our duty to take care of such historical monuments. Going to the museum. After seeing Golconda, the children also went to a museum in Hyderabad. Many old items are kept there. Many things are found when the place around Golconda was dug, like pots, jewelry, swords, etc. Shailja, oh, why are these broken pieces of pots kept in the almar? See that small plate made of bronze. That blue piece seems to be made of ceramic. So now, after visiting the fort, the children also went to a museum in Hyderabad. Now, in this museum, all the antiques were displayed. Now, what was this like? After so many years have passed, if we dig this earth around such historical places, we find certain things which are buried in the soil. And such things, when we find, we display it in a museum. And why do we do that? So that we know the history, that in the past what the people used to use, what type of utensils, what type of jewelry, and what type of swords and spears were used. So all such things are displayed in the museum. They also saw that certain utensils were made of clay, that is ceramic. It was made of clay, and the people used to use all such things in the olden days. Didi, it is through all these things that we come to know how people of those times lived, what they used, and what things they made. If all these would not have been kept here, how would you know so much about those times? So, as I just explained, that these things are preserved and displayed in museums so that we learn about our past, that what people, how people used to live, and what people used to use in those days. Make your own museum. Rajni teaches in a government school in Malappuram district in Kerala. Together with the children of our class, She has collected many old things from all the houses, like old walking sticks, locks, umbrellas, wooden slippers, pots, etc. They also saw that what these things look like today. Rajni and the children put up an exhibition which people from the neighborhood came to see. You could also do this. So now this, what is a museum? Any things used few years ago, we collect and display it, and we see the difference of those things with the things which are used in the present time. So we say that they are little antiques, they were used in the past. So in the same way, Rajni, she was a teacher in one of the schools in Kerala, in Malappuram district. She, with her students, she collected all such things from different houses, and they displayed it in a room, and they called it their museum. And then they saw the difference of the things which these old things were, and what the things were in the present. They also invited some of their neighbors to come and visit their museum. Look at the painting and tell. This painting is 500 years ago. It shows Agra fort being constructed. What kind of work are people doing? How many men and women are working? See how they are taking the huge pillar up along the slope. Is it easier to lift a heavy thing straight up or along a slope? Were you able to see the man carrying water in a mashak, a leather bag? So children, we can see this painting. This painting is 500 years ago, and this painting shows us that how so many men and women, they worked together for many years to construct which fort? The Agra fort. And they were doing all manual work. There were no machines at that time, and all the men and women worked together. You can see they are dragging up a very huge pillar towards the upper side. They are all together pulling that pillar. Nowadays we use cranes to pick up these such heavy pillars or rods, but in the olden days the people used to drag it on a slope. They have made a slope, and they are dragging that pillar along the slope. And to give water to these workers, you can see a man is roaming about with a leather bag filled with water, so that they can get water to drink. So this picture painting depicts the hard work of the people of those days. In that manner it is shown in this painting. So dear children, I hope you have understood this 10th lesson. So the homework for this part is that you need to read this lesson at least once or twice. So thank you and have a very nice day.